Good afternoon, YouTube. This is your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of WWE Talk, also the Joker. You know, everybody likes a villain, especially in the movies. The villain is the person who makes the movie entertaining. Even though you love the hero, it's the villain that really gives the movie what it is. You know, you love the hero, but the villain is the one that gives the movie what it is. And as you know, I try to do more content. I'm going to do since my channel is growing, I'm trying to do more live streams, especially with WMA. It's been at least almost a month, about 2 or 3 weeks since the UFC 275. In which Valentina was, she defended her title against Taila Santos, and there's still people talking about it. Anything like this, it's became a very big controversial fight where people still thought that Valentina lost, even though she did more work off the ground. She even when she had top when Taila had top control and Valentina had was working from the bottom, she still won the fight. And Taila, what it is not enough experience. She has experience. She's been fighting for a good while, but not enough to correct her mistakes. But Valentina, she is a gamer. She is a queen of adjustments. She's the queen of strategy. She is a chess player playing among checker players. People call her, I call her the John Wick. She's not, remember the movie John Wick? The guy called John Wick Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is translated as the one who they send to kill the boogeyman. You know how Joanna calls herself the boogie woman. Remember what she did to Joanna. She's Baba Yaga. She's the one sent to kill the boogie woman. So this is always about a fighter. People hate when a fighter is so dominant. After a while, like when Ali was fighting back in the game, he was defeating guys, telling them to knock him out. He was dominant. Even that one thing was that I think that his fight that I think they got a lot. I think really one of his most famous fight outside of his fight with Sonny Liston and Freeman and Forger. And Foreman. It's also a fight with a guy named Chuck Weber. Chuck Weber was a guy who fought Ali like about 50 years ago, and he supposedly knocked down Ali. But the question is, I think he tripped Ali. That's what people say, especially people who fight fans. People out there like my man, your coach, Big Mike over at Big Mike's boxing, my brother, Underrated Darkness. All the guys who boxing fans will know we believe that Weber tripped Ali. But Valentina gets a lot of hate for being so dominant. She's been ever since she came to the UFC. She was considered one of the smallest women in the division in 135. And she used to come in 133, 130, or 134, and fighting girls who were probably, walking around at 150, and even if they, they come in weigh in because they hydrate after weigh in. And Taila, she had a couple of days to hydrate, and also Valentina was dealing with an injury, and she still came in to fight. She could have took a step away from it, but she was a gamer. She could have said, what, I got an injury, I can't fight. But she, like when my man coach always tells me, a fighter's never 100%. You're never truly 100%. You're not really the person you're supposed to be. You're always going to have some issues, medical issues. It's just a part of the fight game, But Valentina, as I said, has been dominant for the past, I think she's been champion for almost 3 years already, since she won the title back in, I think, 2018. Was it 2018, 2019? I think it's 2018. She won the title back in 2018, I believe. And if I'm wrong, you can put it in the comment section. And, she has been the dominant champion for all that time, winning the title. Wait a minute, I gotta fix that. and just put on great performances. Now, she has some tough performances. She has some tough fights. Her first 2 fights with Nunes were tough for her. Her fight against Maya, I would say Jeff Maya gave a little bit of a fight. Joanna gave a little fight because Joanna have a past history both fighting Muay Thai. And Taila gave a nice fight, a good fight. But the thing is, Taila lost. So let's go past that. But people hate a fighter that's always dominant, a fighter who is at the best at their game. And that's what Valentina is. She's the best at her game. She's like Triple H. She's the game, and she's that damn good. And, and you can hate that about her. You can hate it. But you know what? That old saying, like one of my favorite characters is a Dave Chappelle character from the Dave Chappelle show, Silky Johnson. Let them hate till they can't hate no more. That's what it is. Let them hate till they can't hate no more. If that's all you got in your heart is hate, then you have that. And that's the problem about you haters. You hate so much that, you know what, people that you hate on don't really care about you. And that's sad, you know. But Valentina, I think she's going to be holding this title for a good while, unless she decides to retire or she needs somebody who comes up and step up. We're still waiting on possibility return of Talia Santos, but it's going to be, at least, if she does come back, it'll be about the end of the year, of next year. Because, you know, Talia's orbital bone got broke. Now, some say it's from the head clash, and, you know, the head clash could be one thing, but that could have just, you know, aggravated the injury more. But, you know, Talia was getting hit from the side of the face while she had Valentina's back and she had on her top. You know, she was hitting. You know, maybe not. You don't look at it. You think they're not that hard. Those gloves is only 4 ounces, and if you hit somebody long enough, you know, especially in a certain part of their body, you know, and then you get that clash of heads, that still can be that can still hurt. You know, like I said, I'm a fan of the Bullet, and like she is like I think a great fighter. She's a fighter that really she's amazing. Like this is a little full like James Bond. She's like Jane Bond. I mean, I like Valentina. You know, she's a great fighter. She's a great person. Represents herself in a country, and you gotta respect that about her. You know, like I said, the Bullet. You remember she did an interview with my man, the coach, and she taught with her and her sister Antonita, and they both were nice ladies. They came out took out of time with their busy schedule. They both trained 24/7, and Valentina, she just has that personality about her. I do find her kind of sexy. I ain't gonna lie. Being a man, a woman's attractive. I don't find her attractive. But she really put on a fight against Talia, and this is probably one of her, decent performance. Right here, she had her on the top. She was striking her, and she knew she won. She, even though she was waiting on the scores, she was confident that she won. Now, Talia, right now she went back home to Kazakhstan. And she's enjoying the time with her friends. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. She was like something out of a fairy tale. Sitting there with the dress on, playing a little. It looks like some kind of like a guitar or something, or a banjo, whatever they call it in that country. I mean, and here she is with the girl. She, doing her hair. It's a cute little Asian girl, Pakistani. Because that part of the country is very close to Mongolia. You're gonna see a lot of people who have Asian descent, and here with the horse, that horse. I mean, I wouldn't mind her riding me like a horse. Yeah, and she's enjoying herself. Like she, look at this. This is cute. I mean, these are nice dresses, traditional dresses. I mean, she got something out of some kind of the guy who wrote the book Swiss Family Robinson. She was like something out of that, Hans Christensen. Hans Christensen, I remember that name. I've seen that movie dozens of times. The old movie, and there was a new update. Here she is washing her hands, going into the building. Here she is with the food, and wow, that's a lot of food. I think that might be a mother. I'm not sure. It looks like her. Could be. I think I've seen pictures. There's Pavel right there. Pavel on her left hand saying, so that got to be her mom on her right hand. I don't know where's Antonita. I mean, it's just Pavel behind her stepping, like Pavel has a plan. He has a plan. He has invested his time to his young girl and her family. There he's right now sitting in her left hand, like what they call the guys a consigliere, Robert Duvall's character from the Godfather movies. That's what he's like. He's like the consigliere. He's like the guy who speaks for the Godfather. And Pavel, he has a plan, and he put in some time for this woman. She invested the time in her, and people, they want to do, she travels and she hangs out here. I think that's her mom. Is that somebody else? I don't see Antonia. She must be back there on flying planes back at home, and she's just among her people. She is a superstar. These are her people. These are the people. There goes her big sister and mom right there. These other people, the girl I saw who was doing her hair, all these other fighters. I mean, these are her people. This is her country. These are home. These are her country people. And Valentina, like I said, she just has that great personality about her. Now, people may not like Valentina for whatever reasons, but that's your reason to not like her. That's your choice. But you gotta respect her for how good she is. And like I said, she's that damn good. But we're always going to have issues, especially in combat sports, that people are going to hate fighters. People hate Floyd. My man the coach talked about this, how people hated, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd was that good. Floyd knew how to move. He was a defensive fighter. He was a smart fighter. He didn't have a lot of knockouts, but he knew how to fight smart. He knew how to not take so much damage. Some people they want to see blood and guts in any kind of form of combat sports, be it MMA, be it Muay Thai, be it boxing. You want to see blood and guts, but you have fighters that fight smart, who fought smart, who don't take a lot of damage, who avoid, who avoid heavy shots. They hate that. They hate, somebody who can come in a fight and disarm an opponent with just a few moves and have great defense. And the fact is, you got to respect the game. You can't respect the game. You're not a real fan of any kind of form of combat sports. You're not a real fan of boxing. You're not a real fan of MMA. You're not a real fan of Muay Thai, of karate, of judo, or all the other combat sports. Even if you may not even be a fan of wrestling, and wrestling's not per se a combat sport, but it is sports entertainment. It's entertaining. But the big talk, like I said, like you saw, if you saw the avatar for the video, you saw, as I took the quote from one of my favorite movies, which is The Dark Knight, where when you part with remember when Bruce Wayne was with his little girl, and he was sitting there having dinner with Harvey Dent and Rachel Dawes, and how Harvey talking about Batman, how you either live long enough to see yourself, you either die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's sometimes it happens. Some people see a villain. Like one person who I think is a villain is Tom Brady. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I don't like Tom Brady. I respect the man's game, but I don't like him. I don't have to like him to respect him, but I do respect him. Even when the situation happened with the Deflategate, I still can't say, that wasn't his fault. I mean, you had these referees. Referees and officials, they check these balls, and that's their job. But I don't like him. The fact is, he decided to retire. After the last Super Bowl, said, "I'm retiring. I'm retired." Okay, good, Tom. So Tom can go home to his pretty wife that looks like a dude, and get out of football. The guy's 45 years old. He said, "You know what? I want to come back one more time." Somebody got that last football from his last game. That football he paid. I think the guy said he paid for $500,000 for that football. The football ain't worth shit. I know he's pissed as hell. He ain't worth shit. He tells, "I want to come back for one more try." Why? I mean, it happens too much. I mean, when Jordan walked away, because Michael Jordan walked away, what happened with his dad, James Jordan. And as you know, I'm from North Carolina, Robeson County. Where this is where James Jordan was found. He was murdered here. He was actually, the place he's murdered is like, I take my friend to work, about every other week. And where he's murdered is like off of down 74, Route 74. If you know where that's at, right there before you get into Lumberton, which is our county seat. And it's right over 995. His father could have went a few more miles and got a motel, but that's beside the point. But when Michael Jordan came back, there was even people on his team hated Scottie Pippen, who you weren't really able to start until Michael Jordan came there, and people said, "We don't need Michael Jordan, we need Michael Jordan." But the fact is, you did need Michael Jordan. You wouldn't want those last three titles without him. You had who was it? Tony Kukoc, but Tony wasn't doing much. He was just there. You had, and then Scottie Pippen could have stepped up, but he didn't. But Michael came back. He took that time. He got to, think and get over his father's death a little bit. You could never get over his death of a parent. I can tell you that. I lost both of mine. But he had to really make adjustments. But he came back because he's an athlete. He's a competitor. He always wants to prove himself. But there was after a while when he stopped winning those Knicks championships, people started hating. It was like anytime, like if you have a team like the Lakers, you start hating the Lakers after a while because they kept winning. You start hating the Patriots. If unless you're a real fan of that group, you like them, but anybody else is going to start hating them because they win so much. How many wins since the Patriots had? Like 5 or 6, and I get tired of it. You get tired of these dynasties. You want to see somebody new. That's in those sports. That's in football, baseball, and basketball, and some other sports. But then we come down to combat sports. How people hate Wilder. Wilder was dominated. He's beaten. Now he takes 2 losses against Tyson Fury. Now he's a bum. No, he just fought against a person I don't like at all, and I don't really respect at all. And that is Tyson Fury, who's a freak. And the first fight, To me, Wilder won, but it was a slow count by an old referee who counted. Tyson Fury was out on his back. And you might, I know you Tyson Fury fans who support a freak like Tyson Fury, because we know what's on your mind. You say, oh no, Tyson Fury, he was out. He got laid out, and the referee slowed counting. People hate Mike Tyson back in the day. Mike Tyson was so dominant, but I loved Mike Tyson being so dominant. I couldn't ever hate him being dominant. He was that damn good, knocking out guys in first rounds. He had some long fights every now and then, but he knocked out guys in the first round. He had head movement. He can move. The thing about the second fight with Holyfield, this is what I'm saying. This Holyfield, people don't want to think of it. Holyfield's a dirty fighter. He is. You can say name Holyfield, he's outrageous, but the man was a dirty fighter, and he was a hoe. He had a bunch of kids outside his marriage to his wife. Mike, he had his kids outside his marriage, but he never put himself as a holy endowed person. And he was married at least 2 or 3 times. His first wife was Marvin Givens, who tried to have a kid, but she had a miscarriage. His second wife was that doctor he met when he got out of prison. They had 2 more, 3 kids. And now he's married now with a wife and they have kids. He's a family man. But, to me, that second fight, he beat Holyfield. Only reason why Holyfield, the only reason why he lost because Holyfield headbutted. And Mike, how Mike is. He gets in his mind. He should have just hit him below the belt and lost the point. He could have won the fight all out. He could have won that fight straight out. He was winning that fight, and Holyfield headbutted him. You see that cut he had in his eye. It was a big gash. But get back to Valentina. Valentina is now seeing the villain. She just did a movie with Halle Berry was Bruce, and she played the villain in that movie. So now she has actually became the villain. I've not seen the movie yet. I think it's on Netflix. I don't have Netflix. I wait till somebody even post it on maybe on YouTube or something. YouTube, you can watch movies on YouTube. I might watch it. I like Halle Berry. I'm a fan of Halle Berry. I love Halle Berry. She's one of my favorite actors. Ever since back when she was doing, she was on Knots Landing years ago, and the movie Strictly Business with Tommy Davidson. She was in Last Boy Scout with Damian Wayans and Bruce Willis. Great actress. She deserved an Oscar for Brokeback Mountain Monsters Ball, because you got to do 16 with Billy Ray Thornton. Yeah, you deserve an Oscar. I'm sorry. They could have got any guy for that. I mean, I think, did he wrote that movie or something? I don't know. I can, I don't want to see Billy Bob Thornton, but I don't want to see him get naked. He lost a lot of weight back in the day. He'd be a heavier guy, but he lost a lot of weight. You got to get somebody who's like, he could get Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's better shape. I've never seen his butt when he was in the first Piece of Weapon movie. So, and even back then, he's probably still in good condition. But besides that, people going to hate on Valentina because actually she is doing well. And thing is, there was a plan. If you haven't heard, Lauren Lunchlady Murphy is out of her fight against Miesha Cupcake Tate. That fight was supposed to happen, I think, next week, I believe. And this was going to be a fight for Lauren, I think, for Miesha's debut in 125. And Lauren, she fought Valentina a while back, and she got dominated. She got pieced up. So the sad news for her, like, I'm not a big Lauren Murphy fan, but I hate when it happens to anybody when she got the virus. And she can't fight. She's probably, depending if she gets vaccinated, it won't take long for her to get better, but it's gonna take a while for her to get back in shape and get ready for a fight. We might not see Lauren Murphy fight to maybe to the end of summer if she ever gets a fight back. But Miesha Tate's looking for an opponent, and Miesha Tate's fighter I do not like. She is truly a villain. She's a hater. She has issues. Like I said, I talked about it before. I think I truly understand why Ronda Rousey hated Miesha Tate. Because what kind of person she was. She has that personality. She has a stink-ass personality. I remember when she was doing the commentary for the Victor fight a while back, how she was talking. And just like, you just can't say anything positive about anybody. I can understand criticizing, but sometimes you don't criticize, you more insult than anything. So that's why I'm not a fan of Miesha Tate. So if she gets anybody that's in 125, like, somebody who can probably beat her, like maybe get a fight with Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia would kill her. Jennifer Maia is a BJJ artist, and Jennifer Maia is a tough girl, and she's big, even for 125. Jennifer Maia would kill her. Let's maybe talk about JoJo Calderwood. I think she probably can beat JoJo Calderwood, but JoJo Calderwood, if her Muay Thai is pretty good, and she can use her Muay Thai, and she can probably. But Miesha, she takes a lot. She took a lot of beating. Julia what's her face beat her back in Victor to death, but back in Strikeforce to death. But she beats her out of nowhere. But she was getting beaten. I saw that Strikeforce fight between her and Julia. What's the face? And then the beat she took for Kat Zingano, the beating she took for Amanda Nunes. She was getting beaten by Holly Holm, but then she pulled out. She got Holly Holm's back and used her wrestling. And then her last beating against Peg Pennington. And then what she happened to her with Caitlin Vieira, she's a punching bag. So if you put her with somebody like, even put a girl who's in the bottom 15, they probably beat Miesha Tate. So, and then Valentina wanted that fight to be like a main event, but there's a good chance we're not gonna see that fight. But there's a possibility she might fight, Manon Ferriat. Moan's gonna be fighting Jessica Andrade, who's stepping in the place of Caitlin, the blonde fighter, Chokagian. I call her Choke, because Choke had to step out for some reason. She had an injury. It was underclosed. She could, there could be a possibility that she might be knocked up. She's been talking about, she got married about a couple of years ago, talking about starting a family. So she might have just started saying, she's supposed to throw this fight, but my guess she said, maybe, I don't know. The hump made something to pick up one night, and then she's like, damn, I'm pregnant. That could be it. If we find something like that, it probably might come out what the injury is, and maybe not. But could maybe not be an injury. Like I said, it might be, like I said again, it might be that she's knocked up. And when a female fighter gets knocked up, it takes them a long time to come back. Look at how long it took Julianne Peter to come back after she had her daughter. Look how long time it took Sarah Mann, because when she had her son. With Mackenzie Dunn, she didn't take too long to come back, because Mackenzie's a lot younger than them too. Little girls in their 20s can pop a baby and then boom, in the club the next night. But like I said, it's just about, people hate a fighter. So like John Jones. John Jones, why I call him can't get right. He does stupid stuff. And, he's done things like he's his girlfriend crashing cars and pregnant women and all stuff like that. But he's been a dominant fighter. And then, people hate him for being that good of a fighter. But people don't talk about somebody like Conor McGregor, who does stupid shit, who throws trolleys into side of the buses, who fight old men in clubs, who's fighting a DJ in Italy, who wants to fight Machine Gun Kelly, but they give him a pass. So why there's so much hate? Because we know what the hate for John Jones is about the complexion. John Jones is a black man. Conor McGregor is an Irish dude. And he just always he's like, "Girl, blood to hair." It comes the back, and he's like, he's just doing all this shit. Like, I mean, he's doing riding a motorcycle, la 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 la. It's the deal, and the motherfucker. He does this shit. People love that about him, but you know what? The man has issues. And then we get the mother fight for Mayweather fight. Dana has changed, because the fact is when he get that big money from that Mayweather fight, you got to think about it. Floyd never fights for anything under 100 mil. Floyd got his big check. Dana got Conor got his cut, and he had to get a cut to Dana for allowing him to fight. And still, even if he gave his cut to Dana after taxes, he still had a good chunk of change. He had maybe at least, I think Conor got maybe 50-something million from that fight. He had to give Dana maybe about 10%. So he gave, Dana might have gotten, like a good percentage out of it. Dana might have got a 10 million, something out of that fight, 10 or 300, at least it's going to be Dana White is going to be like, he's probably got 10 or 15 million from that cut from Conor McGregor. And Conor was still sitting on maybe about 20 million. And that's the most any fighter's ever get. That's the most any MMA fighter got in their career. Conor McGregor, and then he's out there. He's still doing advertising. He's doing commercials, and he's right now his leg is broken. It's gonna take that leg for a while for it to heal. And he it's been since that fight with him Poirier since last year, and it's gonna take him like remember what happened with Raquel Pennington when she broke her leg in a was it a ATV or was it a car accident? I forget which one of them. And it'll take a while for that fighter, for that leg to heal, for that bone to really set. And it's going to be the target for any other fighter who knows that, hey, that's the leg he broke. I'm going to target that leg. It will see weakness. That's the same with Talia. She has that broken orbital bone. Even that bone heals. A fighter who's smart and conscious, someone like Valentina, she's going to attack you with kicks and punches and make her bleed in the eye till she say, you know what, Your eyes closed, and you can't fight no more, Talia. And she wins that way, a TKO. That's still a knockout. Technical knockout, still a knockout. So that's when Talia coming in with a weakness and something that Valentina will capitalize on, because Valentina is the queen of adjustments and of strategy. She goes in that fight with Talia. She knows she has that broken over the bone. She's going to attack it. She's going to throw kicks. She's going to throw punches. She can shock the body. She can try to take in the deep waters. And that's why I say Santos may not win that second fight. And this is maybe just me being me and being a fan, but also that's also the truth. Talia's gonna come in. She knows she has that orbital bone issues. She knows she had and we aren't sure Talia will have adjusted for her issues, but when she get top and get top control. If she don't make those adjustments, Talia's gonna get beat. And Alpha, you see what happened with Joanna Jędrzejczyk at that fight. Wally threw a Hail Mary spinning back fist, and she went flat on her face. Flat on her face. And that was probably the worst showing for JJ since the Rose fight, the first Rose fight. I also can't forget the time where her head looked like the size of a watermelon. She looked like she should be one of the aliens you see on the back of inside the National Enquirer. Aliens making babies with humans. but Joanna has played the villain thing for a long time. That was her thing, to be the boogie woman. That's the villain thing. And people, entertain that. I'm not a big Joanna fan, some aspects, like I said, but she always played the getting in people's face, doing that squinchy thing, looking like a vulture or something, And that's what she do. She used that villain thing. Almost every fighter has that. Like Brock Lesnar, when he was fighting, he played the villain. Tito Ortiz, he played the villain. Now Chuck Liddell, he was more of the Iceman than a villain per se, but he played it kind of well too. Who's currently playing the villain? Kobe Covington. After that, remarking me about Brazilians, he plays the villain. There's guys who use that thing because it's good for my skill. People pay attention. People like to say, people love the villain. You love the villain. You love the hero, but the villain's the one that really brings in. He does stuff that the hero won't do. He'll shoot a guy out of for no reason. He'll do stupid. He do stuff that the hero won't do. That you in your back head you wouldn't mind doing, but you don't have the courage to do it because how you were raised, Christianity, and all that stuff, and all that BS. Christianity used a weapon against black people for many years, but but truthfully, Valentina's not really a villain. She's a good guy who she's more of an anti-hero, you would say. She's more of an anti-hero. There's a difference between a villain and an anti-hero. A villain do things just for pure evil and spite. Anti-hero do things when they have no choice but to do them. Like, people like Deadpool, he's an anti-hero. Like I said, I'm doing some comic reference. Like, you get the Black Adam movie coming out with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Black Adam's been a villain in the comics for years, but he's an anti-hero. Deathstroke, he's a villain, but also he's an anti-hero. Wolverine, because he would kill. He's an anti-hero. Spider-Man, Batman has his rules. And Batman and Spider-Man are more heroes, but they have done things. They have killed people, in the comics and in the movies, but it was like they had no choice but to kill. But when you're anti-hero, you kill because you have to kill because you knew you had to survive. With heroes, they try to find an alternative way. Say, I don't want to kill this person. I want to avoid killing. Even Superman has killed. They want to avoid killing. One woman she'll kill because she's an Amazon. That's how she trains. She'll fight to the death. But anti-heroes are guys that were one-time villains and became heroes. And like I said, I mentioned Deadpool, Wolverine, Deathstroke. Who else? I'm trying to think of. If anybody any anti-heroes, share them in the comment sections. You shoot it out. But we know anti-heroes are guys who they're not too much of a good guy, but not that much of a bad guy. Sometimes they just got regular good men who got pushed to the limit and they lost everything and they have nothing to lose, but they do what they got to do to survive. But I think Valentina is an anti-hero. She's not a real villain. She's an anti-hero. She's a good person at heart. She has a good, she's a loving person. She's respectful. But the fact is, people see her as she's a dominant force. And when you see dominant force, you just can't, you just have no, you hate strong, strong. But you gotta respect her as a fighter. If you hate her, you respect her. There's some people out there who are villains, and they deserve to be called villains because they are. Like I look at somebody, my man, the coach is talking about a fighter that I'm not a fan of, and that's Ashley Evans Smith. She is a villain. You know, a while back last year when the pandemic was hitting, her and her boyfriend went to a woman's house who was giving away a dresser. The lady worked as a nurse, and she had put out some, medical stuff. Like I think she had gloves, masks, and other stuff. These two people took that stuff off a porch. This was not given to you. It wasn't given to you. It was given to somebody for a charity. And she took this stuff, and people not talking about this. And she got busted about a month or so ago for testing positive for PEDs. Now she's suspended. She's suspended. That's a villain. You're doing wrong. You took gloves and stuff that's meant for somebody who was really in need because you saw it on a porch. Common sense will tell you see something that's not yours, it's not meant for you. You don't touch it. Keep your damn hands off of it. But she did that. No one want to talk about that. And my man, coach talks about it. I talk about it now. I talk about we put out something like we talk about the whole thing with Chael Sonnen. How he's American gangster. No, he's American simp. The guy got drunk, beat his wife, attacked a bunch of people, and they sweep it over the rug. But he's talking about John Jones every 20 seconds because John Jones whooped his ass. John Jones probably blew his wife's back out. Some women are undercover brother lovers, and they don't want, because they want to be, they're good Christian family, but there's some women out there who like a little bit of a dark meat, and they do it on the side, but you never know, But Chael, he's out here doing it. He's still on doing his podcast, but he's not being admonished for what he did. He got arrested for a violent crime. John has got arrested. And he's been admonished. He got kicked out of his own gym that's been there for years. They guys, Michael Winkeljohn and Jackson, they train. John Jackson, John Jackson, for his name. They train for years, and he gets kicked out. Now, I heard that it's no longer Winkeljohn anymore. It's not Jackson Winkeljohn anymore because Jackson left. Jackson was the guy who was really training everybody else. Winkeljohn just around, walk around. Now I think Jim's gonna suck. I just saw Clarissa Shield left that gym. Now she's with another villain, and that is Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Burger King Jr. No, Chris. I know he does pretty good. He did pretty good with Ray Lee. He's working with Chris Cyborg, but you need to go somebody else. You need to go to a real, I said about Chris Shield. Go to a real dungeon gym, a gym that can break you down and build you up. That's where you need to go. Cejudo, he's good for some aspects, but you really need somebody to work with you everything, not just that one specific thing. Everything. Somebody can tear you down and break you down, Clarissa. And Clarissa still seen as a villain. But my man coach talked about another lady this morning about Sha'Carri Richardson, who just she raced a couple of races, she didn't do too good. And I remember there's a quote I said by the great Malcolm X. The black woman is the most hated person in America. And black women always get villainized. They villainized my man coach about, so we mentioned how you talk about Simone Biles, how she was villainized because she wanted to take a step back. She didn't want to hurt her team because she knew, like the old saying, your mind, like I said, your flesh is strong, but sometimes your mind is weak. Your body keeps going, but if your mind doesn't work with you, there's nothing you can do about it. You gotta give yourself time to, and give a lot of other people these allowances to be, to do what they want to do. But when it comes down to black people or any kind of, or a particular type of woman or any type of man outside of black people, they get a lot of hate. And they get villainized. Well, they're not trying to be villains. They get villainized for just living their lives and even who they are. And try to, they're not here to, they appreciate you fans, but they're not here to be at your bequest. They are athletes, they're performers, they do what they want to do, and they appreciate you fans, but at the same time, they owe you nothing. Nothing. They do this because they are competitive. They do this because they enjoy their sport, but they owe you nothing. As a fan, I know that. They don't mean anything. Like I do my stuff for my women's bodybuilding. Right now I'm working on something I just saw that a dear friend, Miss Tina S. Williams. Shout out to Tina S. Williams. I love her. She's a great person. We talk on the phone every so often. About her husband, Mr. Big Keith. We were talking yesterday. I love Big Keith, the great guy. He's recovering from his angina. He still has some problems, but he's recovering. And she gave me the post for the upcoming Rising Phoenix Women's World Championship coming up in November. I'm doing a video on that later. I'm working on it. I'm working on it now. She's working on it now, but I had to take time for this because I always said this stream very hard yesterday. So one person that was seen a villain in bodybuilding was Iris Kyle, because Iris was so dominant she was dominant for the last years when he still had Miss Olympia, but also she did Miss International, and where she was just that great of a competitor, and you gotta respect that the woman's, she was that good. But people just hate a dominant competitor, and there's always been a debate. Back in was back in the last Miss Olympia track in 2014, when there was a debate of who should, the last Miss Olympia, and they had there was last Miss Olympia 2014, and it was debate between who should have won that year. And it was between possibly Olivia Popa and Iris. And the thing was, they wanted to push away from the more, athletic, more muscular female bodybuilder to more of the more woman who has very feminine features, but also still have that level of masculinity. And some people are not a big fan of Iris. I know some people told me that they hate Iris because she was fucking ugly. She wasn't a very highly attractive woman, but still, she was a great competitor. She was, she may not have been a beauty queen for all set, but she's still a woman. She has her looks, and it may not be for everybody's interest of what she looks like. But Iris, in that last year, she cited that the judges, and really you can't forget, it's the judges that make these decisions. Not so much. You can't put it on the judges. The judges are the ones who set the standards. It's the judges. They're the ones who pick the opponents. They're the ones who judge who has the better criteria. And Iris, she was winning the Miss Olympia back to back, winning Miss International back to back. And there was that debate of, and it's like I said, I'm gonna pull up a picture of it. And if you follow bodybuilding, you remember it was they wanted to get away from a particular look. And and like I said, Iris always came in great condition. She was a tough competitor to beat. She's like one of the top women in the sport. If you're the best, it's gonna be hard to beat you. But Iris was so dominant, and after a while, even I, a bodybuilding fan, started to hate Iris. Because she's coming in, she dominated. She's winning all these shows. She has the record, the most record than any woman or bodybuilder as Olympia. She had, probably one of the best records in her career. And she stayed dominant for so long. People hated Iris for that. But I remember that last Miss Olympia. This is a picture of it. I pulled it up. And if you follow bodybuilding, remember that last Miss Olympia with between her and Alina. And if you look at it, some aspects, we look pretty good. Like the mixed section, I think she looked a little better than Iris. I think Iris had more of a peak in her arms, and I think this was close. This was close. But here's the thing about this: when you go against the champion, you have to be dominant. You have to be certain you're gonna beat the champion. You're like the old saying Ric Flair just say, who's one of the best villains in all times of wrestling. The dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. To beat a man, you got to beat the man. Woo! And that's the same thing with in women's bodybuilding or in just any sport. To beat that person, you got to be the person. To beat, you beat somebody. For Alina to beat Iris Kyle, she had to be top in her game. She might have a few flaws, that we didn't like I said, look at Iris's her bicep. She had a peak. Mistake that Alina made was doing an open hand flex. She should have done a closed fist. That her pick, I think, will give her. When you do the open hand, you make your arms relax. That's the pose for women physique, not women bodybuilding. It's for physique. It's you do that pose for like when you are doing like your posing routine for the finals. You don't do a show when you have a showdown against the top woman. She should have did a good old fashioned, like Iris, a good old fashioned clinch flex. She should have did that. If she did a good old fashioned clinch flex, you really see the definition of muscle. That's what Iris did. She did all the right things. Like I said, one thing about Iris, like I said, the midsection wasn't as good. Look at Alina, looked like she was more flatter. Iris looked like she was a little bit extended. The lats about the same. I'm only looking so much about the lower legs. So I probably look pretty good, but the problem was that Alina just didn't, truthfully, bring her A game like she should. And that's what happens if you don't bring your A game. You're not gonna beat the best, and that is, and that's the truth. That Iris was the best. Yeah, like that. She has 10 Olympia wins. That's more than any competitor in the Olympic history. She surpassed guys like Ronnie Coleman, surpassed Lee Haney, Arnold Schwarzenegger. She surpassed Linda Murray, who had 8. Linda surpassed Corey Everson. And Corey Everson was the most loved female bodybuilder. And Linda was the most loved female bodybuilder. But people started hating Iris because she was that damn good. She was, you see as a villain. But that's the same thing about with fighting. When you're such a dominant fighter, such a dominant performer, people are going to hate you for being that dominant. What are you going to do about it? You want somebody to stop being dominant? It's not fair to that fighter or not fair to that athlete to be dominant. But the fact is, you're going to hate because the fact is, hey, if it's not that fair, if it's not your favorite person, you're going to hate down on that person. That's simply that is. If it's not your favorite person, you're going to hate them. That's all it is. But if it's just somebody who is your favorite, you're not going to hate them. You're going to support them. I know people talk about, well, Valentina, she tells you this, that. But Valentina's that good of a fighter. But like Chris Cyborg, people hated on Chris Cyborg because Chris Cyborg was dominant for so long till she lost that fight against Amanda Nunes. Then they saw that, oh wow, she's human. But what it was with Chris, that she was off her game. If she was smarter in that fight against Amanda Nunes, if she didn't put her emotion and heart in it and thought a little bit and know that Amanda Nunes is a tough opponent. I'm not a fan of Amanda Nunes. I don't like the lion ass queen, but she's a good fighter. I don't like her, but she's a good fighter. And she knocked out one of the toughest fighters in their sport, and that was Chris Cyborg. She beat one of the best top 5 women in their sport. That was Ronda Rousey. She beat she beat Valentina twice. She ran over her own best friend, Raquel Pennington. She beat the dog shit out of Misha Tate, and I love that one. I do. She didn't, but she got the dog shit beat her by Kat Zingano. Kat Zingano was channeling, she was channeling Megan Thee when she was doing the suplexes on her. And that's when she had to make the adjustments. After that fight with Kat Zingano, she had to make adjustments. Because, one thing with back then, Amanda had stamina issues. And Amanda had lost before. She hadn't lost before, but that was her first big loss since her loss to Pena in WMA. And people hate Pena now because what Pena did, she stepped up. She wanted to fight. She was calling out the champ. She was doing like how if you are an old boxing fan, you remember back in the day, Ali used to call out Sonny Liston. Because Sonny Liston, he told me how story. I remember how he said that Sonny Liston in prison. And Sonny Liston be in prison. He said that in prison, people don't mess with is the crazy guy. You don't mess with the crazy guys. You don't mess with them because they're crazy. You don't know what they're going to do. And Sonny Liston still had that prison mindset. Ali went to his house and called him out, called him a big bear, talk shit to the man. He beat him twice. The first time he knocked him out. Second time, Sonny Liston, I think it was the first time he knocked him out. And the second time, Sonny Liston quit on the stool. Which one? I think I'm not sure. Which one first? If y'all remember that fight, I think the first fight, Ali did knock him out. And the second fight, Sonny Liston quit. I believe it's been so long time. I should always try to remember my boxing history, but Ali did that. Ali went out there. He go, and people hated him for that because he was brash mouth. He wasn't like guys like Floyd Patterson or Sonny Liston. People hated for Sonny Liston because he beat Floyd Patterson. They hated him, and Sonny Liston only wanted to be loved and respected. But he's this big black, bag, beefy, bucket, ex-prison guy who was a mob fighter. But he hated Sonny Liston for that. But Sonny Liston was a good fighter. He was tough. Like Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson was that, he was kind of like he was like the Jackie Robinson of boxing. People hated Jackie Robinson. He was a black man getting in a white sport, but he was dominating for so long. But that was Floyd Patterson was. He was like the Jackie Robinson of baseball. Floyd Patterson picked up when when Ali didn't want to go to the war. You have these other fighters talking, like that. But but the fact was there was some people say they was get the idea of going to war. What for? Like Ali said, no Viet Cong called me boy. They say the worst of things about you, but why I'm fighting these people for nothing? But they hate Ali for that. But then now in life and passing, he's loved. He's loved. Mike Tyson still hated, but you see Mike Tyson, he was wearing a Bumblebee suit and dancing, saying, "I'm beautiful." Mike's on that weed really hard. But I still love Mike Tyson. Even though the situation we say we supported Joe Rogan, I don't like that. That's one thing. Or that time we was like, remember the time he was hanging with DX and he was talking, like, heartbreak. Is you heartbreak? I hated that shit. But there was a whole plan between Triple H, between him and Stone Cold. But I hated that when we sided against Stone Cold with DX. I hated that. That's the only time I really hated Mike Tyson. We decided against my man Stone Cold. Him Stone Cold missing with him. I didn't like Stone Cold missing Mike Tyson. But then we did that to Triple H. We did that with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And that's why I didn't like saying that. And Mike Tyson, he's going like that. He's staying with Triple H, saying and Shawn and HB Gay, which I call him. My friend hit me. One of my friends hit me. I call him HB Gay. And he said, like, you heartbreak, Mike, you punk, like, you punk. Then he did that. He come out, he was supporting Stone Cold. It was him, Stone Cold had several things. It set up Shawn Michaels. And I said, Mike, I forgive Mike after that. I did. I forgive him. But one thing I don't respect him with the situation with Joe Rogan, with Hulk Hogan. You shouldn't say that. You should you should never call you should not, the N-word should never come out in your mouth, no matter who you are away from. When we say it among each other, it's a thing of, it's between us and our community, but we shouldn't use it either. I don't really use the N-word unless I get pissed or I think it deserves to be called that. But people are gonna hate somebody who's been dominant, who have great skills. They're gonna hate on them. But you know what? So again, you can't worry about the haters because you know what? They're so focused on hating you, they can't improve on themselves. You should be worried about what you need to do as a person to prove on yourself. Why waste your time and energy hating on somebody else who's good at what they do, who the best at what they do? Like Tony Montana was the best, but actually, like I said, Tony Montana was good, but the guy who killed Tony, Sosa, and Sosa was better. He sent people. He said Diaz brothers killed Tony. Tony was the best, but he wasn't the best. That was Sosa. But Valentina, I think she's gonna hold this title for another 2 years. If she fights Manon, then she beats the Manon, then maybe possibly wait for Talia Santos to return, or wait till like somebody like Viviana Rujo in her fight with Alexa Grasso. Either Alexa Grasso or Viviana Rujo might be next. It's gonna be wild for Talia to see Talia. And Valentina says to stay active as a fighter. She has to stay active. She usually fights 2 or 3 times in a year, more than 2 more fights more than Amanda Nunes. And Amanda Nunes is supposed to have a fight with Julian Pena, I think in September, I believe. I think it's going to be UFC 277 and 270. Is it 277? I think 278. I forget which one it is because they're doing the supposed to be doing the tough 30 season with women's lightweight and women's flyweight and men's heavyweight, which is to do 105. What's the deal with 105? We just saw Genu Frey barely beat Vanessa Anopoulos. I think Gene probably better in 105. And they could have been stopped 105. There's some great women in atomweight. You may not get a lot of knockouts, but you get a fast fights, you get competitive fighters. They're more steady. Yeah, you're gonna have a few people like someone like Alicia Chapatella, who's gonna do a lot of wrestling and a little groundwork. But you're gonna see you have some fighters who are strikers, like somebody like Jessica Bonnet. Julia Corsi just knocked out Lindsey Van Zandt. Lindsey Van Zandt's a good fighter. Even though she took a knockout, she got knocked out in her last fight, she's still a good fighter. There's a lot of great competitors in 105. And Dana White, you're dragging your damn feet. I know the fact that Dana White don't want girls too big. You don't want girls too far. You don't want a 145 division you can stack up. You don't want to create a 105 division. He's just a mess. And that's the person I don't like. He is an actual villain. That is Dana White. You are a villain. You are Lex Luthor reborn. You are Lex Luthor. Where's Batman when we need him? No, not Batman. I'm Superman. Where's Superman? We need him. We need a Superman. I was thinking Scott Coker was Superman, but nah, he's more like, I would say it. I won't call him a Superman. I'm trying to think of he's kind of like he's kind of one of those heroes you don't really talk about much. One of the D-level heroes, like who am I talking? Ant-Man. No, Ant-Man's not D-level. I think Ant-Man's like a B-level hero, I would say. Maybe close to B-level, almost A-level. Yeah, I would say that. But Scott Coker, he's like a D-list. He's a D-list hero. He does good for his fighters, but he needs to do more for his organization. He needs to do more for Bellator. Bellator needs to be a real top-level threat. Bellator to be an option for fighters who want to go to, not a retirement graveyard for fighters. That shouldn't be. But I'm not going to stay too long first because it's about lunchtime. I'm going to cook myself a little lunch because, I don't eat in the mornings anymore because that was for me a thing my mom used to do. I have my lunch, I have my dinner, and maybe a snack between that. Got to do shopping this weekend. Also, I am going to Fayetteville because one of my favorite ladies who I've interviewed before, we still in contact, Rashana Boswell, is going to do a seminar in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You follow my channel. I think I left it in one of the links somewhere. Also go to Amazon Fitness Magazine on IG, where my man Glenn Young Sr., he's posted some stuff. So you can check if it's going to be this coming Saturday, July 2nd. I'm going to go to Fayetteville. I'm going to leave early in the morning because it starts at 8 o'clock. I'll probably leave the house about 7. Fayetteville's a good 30-40-minute drive from where I stay at, about an hour almost. I need to call him and let him know where the place is located. Because I've been to Fayetteville, but it's been a while. Fayetteville, is a military town. It keeps growing and changing. I used to go to school to Fayetteville, to Milamont when I was studying massage therapy. Two of my older sisters live in Fayetteville. I used to stay with them on and off sometimes, especially when I was working in Smithfield. I used to go over there sometimes. I had doctor appointments because that's one time I was getting my a little before I was getting my pacemaker. I used to stay over there when I see my neurologist and check with him, my cardiologist, and just go see his appointments. I used to stay at my sister's house. But I'm going to go there because I want to see Rashana. We've been talking on social media. She did an interview she just won the Puerto Rico Pro. Congratulations to her. This is going to be her 4th Olympia appearance. She's also doing as I said, if you look at my community section, there's the list for the Rising Phoenix World Championships coming up in November. She's on that list. I'm also working, like I said again, working on a video for that because I have some things I want congratulations. Also, I have some feelings about how some women are left out. Truthfully, this is like this. The Rising Phoenix, it was a replacement after female bodybuilding got kicked out of the Olympia. But now they're back in Olympia. It should be something like what Mr. National was. It was a secondary title for somebody. But, I'm going to talk about that on my next video when I put it out. I just got to finish out, put it together, and then we'll probably later this afternoon. But I came out here to support my fighter, the Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, and she's not a villain. But people see her as one because they hate her dominance. Don't hate a fighter for being dominant. Respect their dominance. And so that's how the fight game is. If the fighters are dragging their feet and lack the skill set to compete, then there's nothing you can do about it. That's on them. But Like I said, I'm not be here too much longer. I'm gonna go off because, like I said, my stomach is starting to eat me inside out. I went and worked out yesterday. I did about a little over 20 minutes on the bike. Yeah, I did like 22 minutes. I will post it. I forgot to post it on my IG. You can check it on my IG. I did 20 minutes on the bike. What I did, I listen to music now. Music helps me out. It keeps my mind. I listen to something that, kind of energizes me. Some old school rap, some, little rock, something like that. It's also a thing. It's a song some guy made. It was like from Rocky. He took the Rocky theme music. And he, it's really, I think you heard it before on my, I play it sometimes. I think last time I come in, sometimes it motivates when you hear that Rocky saying like, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how you can get hit and moving forward and keep moving forward. And I love that. That's from Rocky Balboa. I never really liked that movie so much, but I do like Rocky. I've been a Rocky. Rocky was the most beloved hero, and that's how Talia sees it. Talia is Rocky Balboa, but you remember. Rocky didn't win the first fight, but he won the second one, and he got beat up by Clubber Lang, and and then he beats Ivan Drago. But Rocky's that hero, and Valentina may not be Rocky. She's more John Wick, but John Wick a little bit of Brian Mills. She has a particular set of skills that's very dangerous to other fighters. But like I said, give respect to the queen of the fight game, queen of the division, one of probably the best fighters around right now. A skill set is beyond others, and people hate that. They hate when somebody has that. When somebody's that damn good, don't hate, congratulate. But you want to hate, that's fine. You can hate. Sometimes I hate. Sometimes I hate. I'm just being me. I'm just being me. Like full of you. Forever I love Atlanta. Forever I love Atlanta. I'm just being me. I love that. That's the one I listen to when I'm working out. That kind of you listen to that old Little Scrappy, that Feli. I mean, that gets you juiced up, especially I'm riding the back, lifting weights. That get me juiced up. Like forever, I love Atlanta. Forever, or some little John. That's good, But like I said, Valentina is that good of a fighter, that good of a champion. I don't see anybody surpassing her right now. Probably Tyson comes back and she makes improvements and made adjustments. Maybe she'll probably win the title. But if she hasn't, Ty's going to lose. That's the truth of it. And you're going to villainize Valentina for beating somebody. And this time, I think next time, Valentina might even, make her quit or not quit. Probably either have to knock her out or beat her so bad that they have to, especially, as I said again, she has that orbital bone issue. That bone, if that bone's not completely healed and set, that means Tyler has at least sit out another after surgery, counting surgery, then training. That's another 4 or 5 months. We may not even see Tyler fight till maybe the end of next year, if anything. Because we already it's going to be June. July's coming up. She already had surgery like a few days after the fight, so she has to recover from July to the rest of the year. That's like at least 6 more months. And then she has to, and then the first of the year, she at least 3 more. She had another 3 months to figure. Somebody said like it's 8 to 9 months to fully recover for something like that. And then you do get back another 4 months for her to train and get back in condition because you know what, she's not gonna train that much. She'll sit around, be her husband. Then also the thing is, she has a husband and she has a kid. There's a good chance that she's gonna get knocked out. This is just me being me. She's a good chance she can get knocked out, and she does. It's done. It's done there. We're not gonna ever see that rematch. Like we're not gonna see Cyborg versus Nunes too, because Dana White, you evil, crooked, bald-headed villain. You messed up what possibly probably would have been the greatest rematches in the history of women's WWE, just in MMA general, because you are a fascist, an idiot, and a jackhole. Whatever situation happened between you and Jessica Andrade, there's been people that saw you before, but you never did the shit you did by cutting her between you and Cyborg. There's people that talk shit about you in your organization, fighters, but you don't cut them, But you're just a jackhole, Dana White. I'm gonna say you're a jackhole. That's all it is, jackhole. We never get that fight between maybe something that I don't know. Maybe kind of like maybe like how Roy Jones and Mike Tyson fought. Maybe make it something like that. I don't know, but we can only cross the fingers and hope. He could have made that fight a main event when John Jones got popped. I remember I said before, there was a fight in Anaheim. They had to cancel because they had a main event. They could have put Gustafsson and John Jones to that and made the main event, and they could have took other fights and pieced together and put for around that fight. They could have done that, but no. They decided to, okay, we're going to close this fight in Las Vegas. We're going to move all the way to California, and then we're going to change everything for everybody. I think Chris would have been more relaxed and more calm if she was still fighting in Vegas. But we know, well, Chris is adaptable. She lives in California. She's adaptable. But I think Chris should have been a little bit, kept me, woosah. She could have beat a man like this. She could have beat her. But anyway, folks, I'm going to say, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day. We got 4th of July coming up. Hope you enjoy that holiday coming up. Spend time with your family. I think a lot of people going to travel because the fact is the thing going on with inflation, the cost of gas. I guess gas in Lumberton it costs like the $4.49 a gallon. That's cheap. That's pretty cheap. It's been like some places $4.60, $4.55. It's crazy. And don't blame the president. Blame big businesses, price gouging the rest of us. The president can only do so much. Especially you have a Congress that's against him. He doesn't like his, because he's not just because he's the president, because he's a Democrat. It's some bullshit. It's about his politics. And always, find people that support you and your interests. Put people in who wants to really help you out. Like some goes to things, but But anyway, I like to appreciate y'all from coming through. People dropping the 4 likes. I know some people rather have me talk about female bodybuilding. I did it yesterday. We had our conversation. And I got an interview coming up in a couple of days. And that's with a former IB Pro. Or she's still IB Pro because, a lot of things still have to keep their IB Pro card paid up because they want to use that for their branding. So we got an interview coming up Thursday. Come check it out. We're going to have a little discussion about the pros and cons of bodybuilding and all that stuff. It might, we hope we have a good conversation. It's just more of a rebuttal for anything. But I do like to appreciate y'all for coming through, listen to me, like, comment, share, subscribe. Just support women in mixed martial arts, women in boxing, women in, bodybuilding. This my channel is really dedicated to ladies out there because ladies, you go through a lot of stuff in the world. You are the mothers, you are the wives, you take care of us men, you take care of us children, and we need to support you. And there's some women out there who don't deserve that. They are, but this is for the ones who do deserve it, and I have a lot of respect for you because I love my mother. She was my first true love, my woman. I have had relationships more like I had relations, but not relationships. But I always came home to my mama. And, much respect to her, and I miss her very much. So I hope everybody enjoy the rest of your day. This is your man, all the way George Page, a.k.a. the Joker, and a.k.a. the Emperor of WMA, bodybuilding, wrestling, and just basically talk. And also, don't forget the Perfect Sage. So have a great day.